They are hooks. You are being kept in the past on purpose. Close your eyes for just 1 second. Right now, think about a summer from your childhood. Maybe you're 8 years old, maybe 9. The light is different in that memory. Warmer, slower. The days felt longer. You didn't check anything. You didn't need to. You just existed inside that afternoon like it was the whole world. Now, open your eyes. That feeling you just had, that quiet ache for something you can't return to, that's nostalgia. And you felt it more in the last 5 years than in any other period of your life. This is not a coincidence. The word nostalgia was invented in 1688 by a Swiss physician named Johannes Hofer. He coined it from 2 Greek words, nostos, return home, and algos, pain. He created it to describe a medical condition, soldiers far from home who became so consumed by longing that they stopped eating, stopped functioning. Some died. It was classified as a disease. For centuries, doctors treated nostalgia like an illness because it was debilitating, because it pulled people so far into the past that the present became unbearable. Then something shifted. Somewhere in the 20th century, nostalgia stopped being a disease and became a product. Think about what gets sold to you every single day. The vintage filter on your photos, the reboots, the remakes, the reunion tours, the retro packaging on products that didn't exist 30 years ago, the lo-fi music designed to sound like a cassette tape, the films set in the 80s, the TV shows about simpler times, the endless stream of content telling you that things used to be better. Someone is selling you the past, and you are buying it every single day. Because nostalgia is not just a feeling anymore. It is an industry. A trillion-dollar industry built entirely on one premise: that you feel something is missing from your present life, and that the past holds the answer. And here's the question nobody asks. What if the past they're selling you never actually existed? Here is something neuroscience has known for decades, but that almost nobody talks about. Memory is not a recording. It is a reconstruction. Every time you remember something, your brain is not playing back a file. It is rebuilding the memory from scratch, using fragments, emotions, and context. And every time you rebuild it, you change it slightly. You smooth the edges. You brighten the colors. You remove the boredom, the frustration. The summer you remember is perfect. You also spent parts of it bored, lonely, anxious, waiting for something to happen. But your brain didn't store the boredom. It stored the highlight reel, the warmth, the freedom, a feeling of possibility. So when you feel nostalgia, you are not missing the past. You are missing a version of the past that your own mind constructed, a place that never quite existed the way you remember it. You are homesick for a home that was never exactly real. So why is this happening now more than ever? In 2024, researchers found that nostalgia consumption, measured through searches, streaming choices, purchases, and social media engagement, had increased by over 40% compared to a decade earlier. 40%. People are not just occasionally looking back, they are living there. And the reason is not complicated. It is the same reason the dopamine system broke. It is the same reason sleep became revenge. It is the same reason nothing feels quite enough. The present is overwhelming. The future is uncertain. And the past, even a constructed, softened, half-fictional past, feels like the only place that is stable. Nostalgia is not weakness. It is a response, a very human response, to a world that is moving faster than human beings were designed to process. But like all responses, it can become a trap. Here is how the trap works. You feel dissatisfied with the present. Something is missing. You can't name it exactly, but it's there. That low hum of not enough. So you reach back. You watch an old film. You listen to music from 10 years ago. You scroll through old photos. And for a moment, something lifts. The ache eases. You feel something. But then it passes, and the present is still there, unchanged. And it feels slightly worse than before, because now you've been reminded of what you think you've lost. So you reach back again. A little further this time. A little longer. This is the cycle. And it mirrors addiction more closely than most people are comfortable admitting. The substance is memory. The high is brief. The withdrawal makes the present feel emptier. And each time, you need a little more of it to feel the same relief. The past becomes a drug. And like any drug, it stops solving the problem it was meant to solve. It starts creating new ones. When you live in the past, you pay a price in the present. You stop building. Why invest in a future that feels inferior to a past you can't return to? Why try something new when the old thing felt better? Why be here, in this moment, when there is a warmer, softer place you can retreat to in your mind? The people most consumed by nostalgia are often the people least able to engage with their actual lives. Not because they are weak, but because the gap between the remembered past and the experienced present becomes so wide that crossing it feels impossible. And here is the cruelest part. The more you retreat into nostalgia, the worse the present feels. Because you stop doing the things that make the present meaningful. You stop creating new memories worth keeping. You stop having experiences that your future self might one day look back on with warmth. You are so busy mourning the past that you are failing to build the thing you will one day mourn. That sense of loss, and they surface it deliberately, because nostalgia keeps you engaged. Nostalgia makes you scroll. Nostalgia makes you click. A person living fully in their present life is harder to monetize than a person constantly reaching backward. The On This Day feature, the Memories notification, the playlist of songs from the year you were 18. These are not gifts, they are hooks, designed by people who understand the neuroscience of longing better than most therapists do. You are being kept in the past on purpose. But here's what I want to say carefully, because I don't want to take something real away from you. Nostalgia is not entirely a trap. At its core, it points to something true. When you feel nostalgic for a childhood summer, you are not just mourning a time. You are mourning a quality of experience, presence, slowness, freedom from consequence. The feeling of being fully inside a moment without needing to document it or optimize it or compare it to something else. That quality is real, and it is not gone. It did not disappear with your childhood. It was not buried in the 90s or the early 2000s. It is available right now, in this moment, if you can find your way back to it. The problem is not that the past was better. The problem is that you were more present in it, because you had no choice. There was no alternative reality to scroll into. There was only the afternoon you were in. What nostalgia is really telling you is not go back. It is be here, fully, without the escape hatch, without the next thing already loading. So what do? You don't fight the feeling. Nostalgia is not the enemy. It is a signal, like all uncomfortable feelings, pointing at something that needs attention. When the ache comes, don't reach for the old photo. Don't put on the old playlist. Don't disappear into a film from 15 years ago. Instead, ask it a question. What quality is this feeling pointing toward? What was present then that is absent now? Slowness? Connection? The feeling of being unobserved? The permission to be bored? Because those things are buildable, not by going back, but by choosing differently. Right now, in the life you actually have. The past is not a place you can return to, but the feeling you're chasing, that warmth, that presence, that sense of being exactly where you are, that is not locked in the past. It never was. You just forgot that you could have it here. We don't grieve the past because it was better. We grieve it because we were more alive in it. Lucid. Thank you for watching The Lucid. One of you.